Women in general, as well as the feminist movement, express what they desire from males. But when we actually provide it to them in the exact way they want it, they become infuriated. When feminists claim they desire equality, they aren't really talking about the traditional use of the word. It is a man who will listen to their demands and confront them that they are looking for. The ultimate goal is to establish a societal battle between men and women that is both entertaining and educational. In theory, feminists who claim to want males to go their own way should be thrilled, but this is not the case. Only by pushing males to work harder than they would otherwise and to provide for their wives and daughters can a good result be reached. Men are expected to take on more responsibilities while simultaneously giving their wives and girlfriends a larger and larger piece of the profits. As a result, now that some men have realized what's going on and are walking away, women who advocate for equality are trapped in the middle. When men are told, "Sorry, we don't want you to go because we need you to do more than your fair share and give society more than half your wealth," men recognize that they are being used. If, on the other hand, women announce their support for equality and men treat them with respect, women are unsatisfied with the situation as well, as more men prefer to go their own way. Women would give us social validation, and our numbers would continue to rise. If feminists and other MGTOW opponents were on our side, we could grow indefinitely. The majority of women are just terrible gamblers, trying to con their way into a man's heart for financial benefit. So if the male calls her bluff, she'll be humiliated and make him feel awful about himself in the process. Women are bluffing and stating they don't require males outside of romantic relationships. And you know what guys are doing? By taking their own path, they're basically calling the women's bluff. This is why MGTOWs are being labeled as women haters by women, when we're only concerned with our own survival and self-preservation because we're the breadwinners. Women will never support us if we did choose to go our own path. They can't acknowledge it because if they did, we'd recognize them for what they are: children disguised as adults. There aren't any women who are going their own way because the majority of these women didn't build the homes they live in or start the businesses or government offices where they work. After all, the hard work has been done for them. Now they have control of all the assets that have been handed over to them. That is why they oppose MGTOW, because the work and assets will remain in the hands of men and are not distributed. If women were not allowed to work before the 1960s, as was the situation then, lesbians in the 20th century would vanish in an instant because they would all be looking for something, guys to marry in order to provide for their financial necessities. They'd be more concerned about their lifestyles than their sexual orientation, and having a sexual experience would be the last thing on their thoughts. They will always say one thing while meaning something different. It's an inevitable part of their socialization. They're always trying to get into our heads through our subconscious brains. Women can't afford to be upfront and deceitful because if we know what they're up to and where they stand on any particular subject, or if their genuine motives are clear and obvious, we'll be able to see right through them. They don't want us to put the blame squarely on their shoulders if something goes wrong. Because women are physically weaker than men, they have been very successful at deceiving men throughout history. Their genes have been passed down. They dislike MGTOW because it contradicts all they believe in. They are upset because we took their statements literally rather than merely listening and putting them in their correct place. These men take women's wishes seriously and work hard to fulfill them in order to have sex and love. However, some men choose to go their own way and interpret women's statements that they do not require males seriously. To put it another way, they're saying, "Fine, we will leave you if you do not require us." Receiving sex and taking all of the risks is no longer enough to keep a man in a relationship. Men will go their own way now that women are growing more assertive, looking for other reasons to live besides protecting their wives and daughters. In certain ways, women want men to stay with them and care for them, as well as listen to their difficulties. Women, on the other hand, want men to believe that they don't need our help. The majority of women have been damaged by feminism, which promised them independence from males. Because they are dissatisfied with their work and are becoming increasingly delusional, women require males more than they'll ever know. They will not acknowledge this, however, as long as it is not deemed socially acceptable. As our society gets more conservative in the future decades, they'll have to admit it at some time. We'll see a huge increase in the number of men responding to their needs and coming to their aid, and the so-called conventional relationships return. We will very probably see a huge number of males responding to their calls and arriving to help them once they seek assistance. They'll be given traditional relationships in exchange. Women will suddenly act as though they care about men in the world, and they will be able to successfully reintroduce men to the negotiating table. The decision is between being a feminist-like male and a conservative macho man. In the end, women win in every scenario. Feminists only want to present men with those two possibilities. MGTOWs choose neither box because we realize that they are both anti-male and that neither circumstance can be won in. As a result, we simply walk away from the issue and leave it. Women then target guys who take their own path, dubbing us gays for refusing to be a woman slave, because they believe that labeling us all as women haters would prevent us from eliciting any action from women. That is, they want us to be afraid of losing our vaginal gold. They also dislike us because we are educating other males about how things are truly happening these days. However, they are unable to express this directly because doing so may enhance masculine mistrust of female nature. Men who go their own way feel that men and women should be treated equally, whereas feminists appear to want equal rights but actually want female superiority. They can only be superior and accomplish what they want if we play the game and do what they ask. Instead, we've decided to go into exile.